All right, this might be the last video of the Chris Cuomo and Dave Smith debate. It's titled, "We All Make Mistakes." Chris Cuomo's offered a chance to apologize for COVID-19 coverage. Let's see if he does it. Let's see what it sounds like. Let's see what he actually says. And let's just all enjoy this, because like I said, every one of these videos, I've enjoyed rewatching it because I watched them live, and it's just satisfactory to see somebody go head to head with Chris Cuomo and just obliterate him, and do such a good job. So Dave Smith, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everybody out there who fought for themselves and didn't just go along like sheep and just wanted to take care of themselves. Right? Like, you just want to take care of yourself, so you do your own research. Google, reading books, talking to people. Just what you do when you want to improve your life. That's it. That's all we were trying to do. All right, let's watch this video.
When I'm listening to you, Chris, all I caught was one thing. I've heard everything.
All that? You only caught one thing?
Trust me, it's just one thing. No, I'm telling. And by the way, you have to understand, it's only one thing I caught about this whole thing. What you want, you're not going to get. You said something. You said, in this world, if you apologize, they will never let it go, and they'll always come back. Look at Trump. He never apologizes. So what that makes me think about, you either are following Trump's lead, then you agree with what Trump does is right, so you want to be like Trump, to say, I want to, and I'm just, I'm telling you this as a brother, you're like, hey, that's what Trump said. Or on the other side, you're like, man, say if I go the other side and I say I messed up, then these guys are going to come after me for the rest of my life. If you go back and look at data on what happened with Joe when all the Planet of the Apes stuff that they came out, I don't know if you remember that when it came out with Spotify, Daniel Egg defended him. He came out and he made a video. I don't know where the video was by his cold. It was somewhere outside. He's just making a video and talking openly. And it's like, we shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this. You know what the world said? You know what? Freaking A, good for this guy for apologizing. Are you kidding me?
You're talking about the stuff in his comedy act?
Yeah.
And the racist stuff.
Well, I mean, all the stuff that they put together, saying, I listened to some of the stuff.
But that's what they made him apologize for.
Well, it's not about that's what they made him apologize for.
No one made him. He apologized for it.
But the point
You don't think that the money he was getting from that company came with them having leverage over what he apologized for and what he didn't?
I happen to know about this, and he's a good friend of mine. Joe Rogan is the boss of bosses. He could have done whatever he wanted to. Okay. And he apologized because he felt bad about it. Yeah, that's the truth.
So then if what you say, what you just said right now, you're saying the bosses made him do that, then the argument goes with you to say the bosses made you defend the vaccine and go up against the ivermectin because the bosses paying you made you do that and you didn't do that. Is that correct?
No. The bosses never made me. I wish I could give you guys the defense. If CNN made me do it,
be right
like
on
Tucker
Rogan's
says about
side,
the war.
But it's not right on the CNN side.
There's no parallel.
No, by the way,
There's
can
no
I just
parallel
say,
to this.
what Tucker says about supporting the Iraq war is, I was wrong and I'm so sorry for doing that.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I know, but no, that's not what he says. He says Fox confused me and duped me into believing.
I literally just had a conversation with the man face to face a couple weeks ago about this.
And I'm literally.
He said, "I'm so ashamed of it, and
I know
I'm so
he definitely
sorry
says
that I
that.
supported
He
the war."
definitely says
so
it.
it's not.
Definitely says
And by
it.
the way, he was the #1 guy in cable news till he left, and now he's one of the #1 guys on the internet.
I
so
totally get it.
You can apologize.
It's not about not apologizing. I apologize all the time. What I'm saying is the reason you're asking for it here is just as a simple gotcha. Trump is right. That if you
gotcha,
apologize
Chris.
in this dynamic,
Well, let me ask this.
that's all they want.
No, really what people want to see, and this is the truth, they want to see somebody at your level, your notoriety, your level of success, your level of status, come out and tell the American people, who you always spoke to with such confidence and as if you were telling the truth all times, that when you finally make a mistake, you come out and you say, you know what, I was wrong. I am sorry. And I will do everything to not make that mistake again and lie to you guys and be convinced by my higher ups of certain things that are not true. And I will do my own research and I will seek out alternative opinions and viewpoints on things so that I am not providing false information to you, even though everyone else I'm working with thinks that this is correct and is telling me to say this. Because that is my job to you. That's what people want to, they want to hear you say and then pursue. That's why they showed up today. It's interesting that he thinks that they just want to say, I got you. But no, they actually we want to see, everybody wants to see somebody like Chris come around. That's what we want to see.
Let me just ask this and save everybody time so we can go to the next 4 topics. Is there anything you regret when you did during that time?
Yes. So here's what I would have done different. One, I would have never been on TV, even though it's the thing I get thanked for most in 25 years of doing this. I would not have been on TV when I was sick. It extended the illness. I think it may have been why I wound up having these extended symptoms, because I didn't let myself
I just want to say the one thing I regret doing, all right, number one thing is making myself a little sicker. I just shouldn't have worked so hard. I just make myself sicker. You get COVID, and then a guy like me, well, only me does this. Me just works so much harder that puts more time in. I just make myself sicker, and I'm dealing with the consequences of being such a hard worker.
beat the fever. I should have done that, okay? Two, I wish that I knew then what I know now about about watching what was happening in the country with the second, third, and fourth iterations of the virus, because things changed. Now, I'll give myself a little bit of a defense in that I wasn't on TV for a year of this, but I was there when it started to change. We saw breakthrough infections, and what that meant was there was an opportunity for me to say, wait a minute, I thought there wasn't supposed to be any infections. And there was a messaging mistake that I didn't know better than to say, but now I do. What Rachel Maddow has that gotcha clip on her all the time where she says, you get this and you don't get COVID, you'll never get COVID. That was never true, but that is what we were told. And
this is the problem. He trusted the wrong sources, and he shamed and did not conversate with anybody who thought differently. So that's a character flaw. So honestly, what he should be saying is, I wish I had better character to engage with people with opposing viewpoints so that I could have done my job better. If he would have said that, everybody in the audience would have been like, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. But he can't do it.
Even the scientists who were working in Operation Warp Speed had confusion about this. The vaccine always worked the same way, which was you don't get enough of viral buildup to get very sick or die. And they assumed, and it was this way in the beginning, that because you don't get a lot of virus, unless you're a super spreader, you won't be as contagious for other people. But that changed. And I wish that during that change, I had seen it for what it was and said, wait a minute, you got to change the mandates, you got to change how you see the booster, and you got to change how you message this. Because there was a lot of drama and pain that happened in those later iterations and a lot of loss.
Chris, anything to apologize for. Apologize. Any.
So back to the, you know, the original question, do you have something to apologize for? You don't you do not have to filibuster. You don't have to talk about all these other things that have nothing to do with the question that was asked. You just have to answer the question. Now go again. Start.
Anything to apologize for.
So Chris,
Hang on, Chris, hang on. Let me just say, open-ended, anything to apologize for. Anything.
I did not do anything on purpose that I thought was wrong.
That's important. That's important. That's kind of scary. Don't want to dwell on that one for too long. But that's a lot of people. Yeah. Well, you know, look, when you tell yourself that the way that you reason is superior, right? And is better than other people, and that you reason so well that you are mostly right. You're all the time right because of how you can reason. You see through everybody's bullshit. You make great decisions, okay? And then you, in the midst of that, you make horrible decisions. Well, of course you didn't think that you were doing anything wrong because you think you make amazing decisions. So back to the character flaw thing. You're too arrogant to see that you are human and you do not make the best decisions all the time. That is the hardest thing to do. That would be called being perfect. And there's only one person that I'm aware of that was that way. Okay? And it ain't you and it ain't me. Right?
So whether it was or not, whether it was or not, listen, sometimes in life, you're married, I'm married, I've been married 14 years.
I apologize
15
all
years.
the time.
That's the point. But sometimes we do stuff, whether it's intentional or not, sometimes we do things, and then we say, listen.
That's because I want the other person to be okay.
And there's
He doesn't care about you. That's a tough one, you know? A lot of people think that their political representatives and government officials and the people in mainstream media telling you what to do actually care about you. They don't, and it's okay. It's okay. Just try to not let yourself think that they do. Because then when you find out that they don't, it's going to be a letdown. You know? Only you can care about yourself. You know, that's and that should be it. You know, it's you know, your relationship with you and your relationship with God is the most important thing. That will dictate everything else in your life. And you know, it is sad when, you know, you see people like unable to accept that their political representatives and you know, the mainstream media reporters telling you what to do don't actually care. Yeah, it's kind of tough to watch, because you can't really have genuine conversations with people. Like I've had conversations, and I don't do this anymore, but like, you gotta warm someone up in a conversation before you drop the bomb that like, hey, look, whoever you and I elect doesn't really care about you and I, and that's okay. Like, they're gonna do what's best for them, for their you know, pockets, and you know, that's okay. You and I can move on from that, right? We can take care of ourselves. Some people can't handle that.
millions of people that listen to you.
I know, but here's the problem. You're the minority. They're all
intentional or not. Sometimes we do things, And then we said, listen.
That's because I want the other
found-
person to be okay.
and there's millions of people that listen to you.
I know, but
so
here's
if-
the problem. You're the minority. There are a lot more people who, if I were to say, which I do not believe, okay, that I should have never said that people should take this vaccine early on. I should have never said that. I should have never said that when people change their position, you said there was no change until everybody loved the vaccine with Biden. No. Early on with Operation Warp Speed, I lived it. I watched the
Filibustering.
process. Everyone was celebrating that Trump got this done. All the Republicans were celebrating it. That's why Kamala Harris said what she said. She was playing stupid, petty politics and saying, I won't take any vaccine that's Donald Trump. That was stupid for her to say it. Then it switched. And the same people, the clip you have with me and Byron Donalds, who I respect as a lawmaker, I love having him on the show.
Anyways, he said that you're a minority, and there's a bunch of people that would be upset with him if he apologized. Pretty much what he's saying. I might not be accurate here, because he's just talking out of his ass right now. And the problem with Chris is a smart guy. Chris is a smart guy, but when your ego gets so big that you can't accept that you're wrong, and you can't you do this, and it's sad because I don't want him to be that way. I don't enjoy the fact I don't enjoy someone being like this, because it's not helpful. Obviously, when he was on the air, it was not helpful. It was not helpful at all. So I don't, it's not something I enjoy, but it is what it is.
I like to hear his name in the conversation about being VP. He went from, vaccine is great, amazing that Trump did this, I got it, my wife got it, this is awesome, to all of a sudden, I don't know about this vaccine. All that changed was that Biden came in. That's what I was attacking so vehemently. I make no apologies for that. If you're this hung up on the ivermectin thing, here's my problem with it. I don't like that Joe Rogan got beat up for taking it. I don't think anybody was in the right to say ivermectin was something you should be taking instead of the vaccine, or if you have it. We don't know that that's true. Even the maker of it says it. So do I?
Well, you never let anybody talk about it, right? And the people that you were listening to were deplatforming and suppressing that conversation.
I like that Joe Rogan got beaten up. No, I don't like it.
You don't like it? You did it. You were part of that.
And to the extent
But
that
you beat him up.
but
You're saying it like someone else did it. It was you.
But here's the thing.
But here's the thing. It depends on what you mean by beat up, okay? He pulls a Jordan Peterson. It depends on what you mean by beat up. I could be beating up metaphorically or physically. I don't know. You tell me.
Okay?
I mean, you didn't beat him up. You don't want to fist fight Joe Rogan.
Here's the thing. Listen. I like what Joe Rogan.
Dude, he's so funny. He really wants everyone to think he's the toughest dude. That got under his skin. I could tell. Dave was like, you don't want to fight Joe Rogan. Chris was like, well, what Chris actually really wants to say right now is he's smaller than me. I would destroy him. That's what he wants to say.
does. I respect his success. I'm certainly not afraid of him. Okay? What I'm saying is.
That's a good.
Here's what I'm saying.
That's a good way to get a spin kick in the chest talking like that.
Well, that's his choice. My choice is to say this. I don't like that he was demonized. But for me to say, hey, you know what? Nobody should have come after him for putting it out there that ivermectin was what he was taking and that's what you should do, because the research doesn't support it. So it's not right for me to say that.
The research that you were deeming, no, not even you. The research that the higher-ups were deeming correct research, that's what you're talking about. Not other research. But it was other research did prove that and did show that. It's just that you didn't deem that legitimate, right? So that was the problem during this whole, COVID thing. Was like, whose science, right? Whose science do you believe? Oh, that's fake science. This is real science. It's like, all right, well, this is up for debate. Let's talk about it. No. I'm not talking to you about it. I know what's right. You don't. You don't even know what science is. You're a vaccine, you're anti-vax. If you even want to have a conversation about anything else helping, you're anti-vax. Sorry, I don't have conversations with crazy people like you. And then when they say anti-vax, they're not clear. They're ambiguous, right? Because anti-vax could be anti every vax that's ever existed. But the majority of people who were anti the jabby vax was just anti the jabby vax, right? That's it. But nobody wanted to make that clarification because it's easier to just make you feel like to shame you and make you feel like a piece of shit. You're like, hold on, what? And then you have to defend yourself. You're like, no, I don't want to hear it. You're an anti-vaxxer.
Listen,
the research that supports the shot is a two-part answer. That emergency youth authorization, they need to go back and review why it got it. And they're never going to do it right now, to a bit of what Pat was saying. Right.
Hey, good point. Good point. I can give you that. Great point.
Right now, here's what you have.
But what do you want to apologize for, Chris? Chris, why do you want to apologize for? It's Arnold. I was the governor. Your brother was a governor. You got to apologize sometimes to save face with the American people. You know, I'm a German. I'm Austrian. And I even apologized. You know, I said the nanny that I slept with, and I made the child that, looked like the Mexican version of me. I had to apologize. I had to say, I am I'm a man. I'm just a man. I am sorry for being a man. Chris, apologize for being a man.
Blame versus silence. You guys are the blame side. I want apologies. I want a reckoning.
No,
I want
honestly,
this. I want that.
I don't take it that
Listen,
way.
but this is why they won't talk about it. I'm telling you why they won't talk about it.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm telling you, my dad told me something one time. He says, listen, be very careful when everybody says good things about you, because one thing in America is they'll turn you into hero overnight and they'll turn you into zero overnight.
Yes.
Then he said the following. He said, but this is the great thing about America. What America loves more than anything else is a redemption story. They want to see you make a comeback. They want to see you go from here you are, fall, they kick your ass, then you're like, I effed up. You know what? This is America. Most of us are Christians. Come back. We believe in forgiveness. And then you can make some kind of a comeback that may take a few months and a couple years. But then they're like, okay, what? We all make mistakes.
Pat,
that's the opportunity.
I don't see that opportunity. Here's what I see.
That's insane. But you know why? And I could be wrong on this one, but I think this is why. Because they are not willing to do it for you. They're not willing to do it for you. So they don't even think it's possible. They don't even think, they're not willing to really forgive someone on the opposite side with an opposing viewpoint, because that's just the nature of what has happened the past 4 years. You demonize and you ostracize and you never let them live it down, right? And so they can't even imagine that people that are in the audience right there, listening to this, watching this video, this reaction video, could even ever accept an apology from them, because they can never do it to you. That's sad. That's sad. But Pat's right. Pat is right. That's what we want to hear from Chris, and that's what we want to see. We want to see somebody like him, see the writing on the wall, do a 180, and go that opposite direction. Join us in what we see. You know you see it. It's okay. You're not getting paid by CNN. You're not degrading the fact that you worked for CNN, the highest level of media in the country. It's not degrading that. It's just a step forward. That's all it is, man. It's a good step forward.
I understand you don't, but
I got to tell you, here's why. Because you believe that the way you see it is the only way to see it. And that's not the way it is.
No, but
okay?
I disagree. No, I disagree. I disagree. And let me tell you why.
Tell me.
You said, out of everything we've been going for an hour and 25 minutes, out of everything that's been said for an hour and 25 minutes, you said, I'm so sorry.
Fauci's going down.
No, I am so sorry. You said
Can't
out
get
of
a
an
break.
hour and 25 minutes, you said, I think Trump's right for not apologizing.
As a tactic.
And you're using his tactic.
The,
You're using his tactic.
I did not do anything
Chris,
that warrants an apology.
You
Okay,
said,
can we go over some more?
No more? Guys, we're moving on. We're not staying on this thing. The only thing I'm saying is the following. You know when you're sitting here saying, they can't say this and the ivermectin this and they didn't have the research and they didn't have the research. Dude, we have 9 months on COVID and everybody's talking about taking it and we're being forced to taking all this other stuff. We didn't have any research on this thing. Warp speed, the whole levels to be able to go, no, yeah, go ahead and take it, guys. If you don't, shame this is. So that's a mistake, bro. That's a mistake. And then at the same time, like if you screwed up, boom, let's move on and go. At this point, I know it's not going to happen. So I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. Can you please have a guy named Tucker, who's our sponsor here? He's got a couple of words to say. Go ahead.
Since I was doing the same thing. I wasn't working on a construction site when I was 25. I was in the political media in Washington. And I stayed there from 1991 to 2020. So
you'll hear it.
I look back at myself and I'm like, I can't believe, for example, I supported the war in Iraq. Why did I do that? Now, I think to my credit, I went to Iraq in 2003 and realized I'd been completely wrong. And I said so. I didn't continue to lie. But I did go along with things I was uncomfortable with. I didn't ask difficult enough questions. And I wound up supporting something that was really bad for the United States and evil, in my opinion. So why did I do that? Part of it was I was young and stupid. Part of it was, I think, if I'm being honest, this was not conscious, but it's still true. I felt vulnerable. I had at the time 3 kids. I've got a mortgage. Like, do you really want to pick a fight with everybody when you're 31 and you're just trying to pay tuition and keep your shit together? Maybe you don't. And I think it's an age thing to a certain extent. Like at a certain age, whatever it is, if you're in the same business and you feel like you've sort of done what you set out to do, you're like, I don't really need to impress anybody at this point. I'm not, in debt. Speaking for myself, I'm not rich. I will never be rich. I'm pretty sure of that. But I'm not in hock to anybody. I don't owe anybody anything. And my kids are grown. So it's like, why would I ever lie? I'm just in a different place. And so
Okay. So, by the way, if you read into what he said, I played along because I didn't want to go up against everybody.
Right.
Because I needed to make money, because I had to support my family, because I had to go. And this is a guy that his show flopped on MSNBC. They were not watching it. I think he was before Mad Hour, whatever the show, the timing was that they had to move on and come back and make a resurgence, and boom, goes and becomes number one, 3.3 million viewers on a nightly basis, does well for himself, makes his money, and now you know where he's at right now? You know what he's got? You know what he's got right now. Oh, let me tell you what he's got right now. He's got this thing. This the only thing in there that he kind of went like this a little bit too quickly. He's got this thing called FU money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he's had it a long time.
And Joe has this thing also called the FU money. And it's funny that both of them had to kind of go through the process of that to have the FU money. And I think it's a great example for us to do that. Now I want to transition to other stories, but here's what I do want to do. If you're watching this, the way...
All right. So, anyways, great video. He never apologized. He doesn't have anything to apologize for because nothing he did, he ever thought was wrong. Fascinating. I mean, you know what? I used to say that shit when I was a kid. Mom, you want me to apologize? I don't want to apologize. I don't think anything I did was wrong. I think I make really good decisions, maybe the best decisions. Some people say the best. And, I like my decisions. So, when I make a decision, I think it's right. I never think it's wrong. So I don't need to apologize for anything. Interesting. Chris is a fun guy. He's a fun guy. That's the last one. That's the last video. If you haven't seen the other videos that I've done on Chris Cuomo and Dave Smith on the PBD podcast, that debate, check them out. Hopefully they're enjoyable. Hopefully, I kind of give my my take on things. I don't have these data points memorized. I don't have this, all the dates and the stuff like Dave Smith does, but I followed it from day one. I followed it, and it is such a great feeling of vindication to see Dave Smith say everything that I watched, that I was following, not be said in the mainstream media, and now be said to Chris Cuomo, who was one of the faces of mainstream media. So it's a very very nice thing to see. Look, I didn't have to see that to be okay with the fact that, people like Chris said certain things about me and people I love, and I don't, it doesn't get to me. I've done enough personal work to not let that get to me. But it feels good to see it, and I just felt like these reactions are worth doing, because if you don't, like, if a bunch of YouTube people, content creators, I hate saying this shit, but people who do reaction videos about these things, then those clips will get out there. My reaction to it, my commentary is whatever. But if it gets more people to watch this stuff, that's the point of me doing a reaction video to it. And that's kind of how I view it. I don't think my opinion is some, it's my opinion. It's my perspective. I've been through my share of stuff, and I feel like I can add a little bit of maybe a nuanced take on things. But, like I said, I think these clips are very important, and if this reaction video helps people to watch it, then great. Have a good day.